Tyrant.
My dear.
What a sick ass episode of Shield Hero. YouTube, by the way, my friends, YouTube says I can cuss in the first couple of seconds of the video now. So, hey. But for real, what a dope ass episode of Shield Hero. What a 3-minute episode that was. That felt so quick. This was so dope. And, you know, Shield Hero this season has been okay. It hasn't been the best. You know, there's a lot of focus on Atla, which is, like I've told you guys before, if you've never been here before, hey, we're on episode number 4 of Shield Hero. I review anime every week. We've been, you know, this is the 4th week into Shield Hero. And Atla is my favorite character in the show. I love everything she represents. I love that she is where she came from. I love how she was rescued. I love how she basically has dedicated her life to the Shield Hero. I love how she is the most team now for me out of anybody. Like out of anybody who's team now for me, Atla is like she's willing to she's willing miss risk it all. Like she is like all about now for me. Now, like I've shared before, I don't know if that's in a romantic sense at all, but like for sure it is in a very like servant, like a servant type, like servitude type deal. Again, like I said, I don't know if that'll ever lead to anything romantic. I don't think it will, but from like a servitude place, like she is just like all about now for me. And Atla just continues to be the one that continues to impress me too. Like, you know, with just her growth overall and the way she fights and everything else. And although I do want to talk about Fohl this episode, because, you know, obviously he's the star. He's the one that takes after his dad, and at the end of the episode, he showed his beast form and everything. So I definitely want to acknowledge that for sure. But I want to take a moment to talk about Atla's fight as well, because she faced off against the Minotaur, and although she didn't transform or have any like specific moment in that nature, she did kind of like surpass her limits, and it did kind of go plus ultra in a way. And as the beast, as the Minotaur guy, you know, as he pulled out his ultimate move, which he stated, you know, Atla was able to go and pull off her ultimate move too, where she's like, you know, like just like the one finger killer. And it was so sick to watch. And I loved in that moment too, that the Minotaur wasn't completely evil or bad or anything. He's just fighting for a specific team and a specific person. But he also recognized like, hey, you know, good on you, kid, you know, whatever. And I was like, that's such a cool moment as well, too, knowing that, hey, the Minotaur might be fighting for the opposite team, but he's not evil in a way. So I thought that was a really cool moment as well, too. But Atla's moment really shined. Then, of course, the show pivots to, you know, Fohl, and we learn more about Fohl and Atla's dad. And we learn about the responsibility that has fallen on Fohl, which we already kind of knew because he was taking care of Atla for so long, and she was sickly, and she was... you know, had a disease, and she wasn't cared for, and she was dying. And the sad part is Atla is a direct descendant, like direct of her mother, like same blindness, same everything. And her mother fell to the same sickness that was capturing Atla's life as well too. So it just kind of took us through Fohl donning the mantle of, you know, being the big man in the house kind of thing. Like, you know, like if I were to leave the house right now, I would tell my son like, hey, take care of your mother and sister. You know, that's his job after me. And I kind of like that moment that he shared with his dad, and he's felt that responsibility ever since. And he had to live through his mother dying and his sister, you know, not dying, but dying. You know, she was dying, but she didn't die. And then just through all that adversity and, you know, everything that came with it, and that ultimately led into him transforming into his beast mode. And now next episode, he's going to go Ultra Instinct, which I thought was really cool. And of course, the piece of doo-doo tiger guy, you know, lion guy, brought in his reinforcements. So now he's going to clean up. He's basically going to clean house with this guy. And he also admitted that he murdered Atla and Fohl's dad. And there's a part of me that goes, okay. And then there's a part of me that goes like, is he bullshitting? Because like he, you know, even now for me kind of called him out. Like, why is he basically, why is he admitting to this huge crime now? And I'm one part like, okay, maybe he is telling the truth, right? Like maybe he did hate Atla. Like maybe it's one part truth, one part not, like lie. Maybe he did hate Atla and Fohl's dad, but maybe he still respected him, right? Like, you know, it's either one or two avenues. It's either he did do what he said. He killed their dad. He hated them. He stole his glory, whatever. And what he said was legitimate. The other side of me though goes like, maybe that's not true. Maybe he has some sort of regret, and he's trying to get something out of the kids. Like he's trying to make them like be infuriated with him. Because maybe Fohl's dad, maybe Atla's dad, Fohl's dad, maybe he actually saved him, and maybe he sacrificed himself when he said he shouldn't. Maybe something else happened there, and his only redemption is to try and like get something out of his kids. That's the other part of me that goes, because I'm also like, well, why would he admit? You know, sometimes villains are just villains, right? So sometimes he could very much just be admitting his crime because he's like, I just fucking hate these kids. You know what I mean? But I kind of feel like I'm in the same boat as now. For me, like, well, why now? Like, why out of all the times, like, why admit this huge crime now? So I'm kind of leaning towards potentially maybe he didn't kill him. You know, maybe he just kind of fabricated that to try and like, you know, get something out of him. But, you know, regardless, we'll see. Anyways, this was a really good episode of Shield Hero. Really enjoyed it. Atla's still queen. Love her. She's the best character in the show for sure. I think, you know, when I rank characters, I think I've done it a few times now. But I think Atlas first. I think Melty second. Raphtalia. Then Rishia. And then Philo. And then everybody else. Probably Whale Girl, and then everybody else after. But Atla, Melty, Raphtalia. In that, you know, in that order for sure. And at one point it was Rishia, because I really like Rishia, but her dedication to the bow hero is just gross. So she fell off that list. Anyways, my friends, I'm gonna see you guys next week for episode number 5. I think next week is the 5th week of Shield Hero, so I'll see you guys next week for episode number 5. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Let me know in the comments below. See you then. Deuces.